What if I told you that Jax isn't just a jerk for no reason? That everything we've seen from his cruel behavior actually stems from a tragedy he caused? Recent reveals from Goose Workz have completely changed how we understand Jax's character, and the truth about what happened with Ribbit is far more devastating than anyone expected. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see Episode 5's most controversial scene in a completely different light. So let's talk about the timeline first. We've learned that Ribbit abstracted sometime before Kaufmo, and considering Kaufmo's breakdown happens in the pilot with each episode representing roughly 1 day after that, Ribbit's abstraction probably wasn't that long ago. This timing is crucial because it explains so much about Jax's current behavior. Now, here's where things got interesting in the fandom. Goose recently confirmed that Ribbit was female, and immediately a wave of theories hit social media claiming Jax must have been romantically involved with her. Even some major content creators jumped on this romance angle, seemingly forgetting one critical fact. Let me be crystal clear about something. Goose Workz explicitly stated from day one that Digital Circus will not feature romantic relationships, period. So any theory, leak, or speculation involving romance between Jax and Ribbit, it's completely off base. Their connection was genuine friendship, nothing more, nothing less. I understand why romance theories are tempting. They always generate buzz and intrigue. But that's not what this show is exploring. Episode 7 is confirmed to be a flashback episode, and when it drops, we'll finally get the full story that debunks all these romance narratives once and for all. So if it wasn't romance, what made Ribbit so special to Jax? Why did someone who keeps everyone at arm's length let this particular person get close? Based on what we know, Ribbit arrived at the circus quite some time ago, before Pomni, before Gangle, before Zubul, and even before Kaufmo. There's actually this fascinating fan theory about room placement in the hallway that suggests arrival order, but that's a discussion for another day. Here's the key. Jax has always been a mischievous character, but there's a massive difference between mischievous and genuinely mean-spirited. The cruelty we see now, that only emerged after losing Ribbit. Before that, he was playful, not malicious. And if Ribbit was similarly easygoing and fun-loving, they would have naturally clicked as friends. Nothing about their dynamic should have pushed Ribbit toward abstraction, but something did. And that's what we need to unpack. Let's examine a crucial detail from Episode 5. When Jax sees Ribbit's room, his expression shows complete despair and bewilderment. Now we know that hallway is lined with rooms belonging to long abstracted characters. Yet Jax never showed this kind of visceral reaction to any of them before. Some might argue he simply didn't notice the other rooms. But come on, they're everywhere. And the show deliberately highlights both Ribbit's room and his reaction to it, followed by his response to Kaufmo's room. This isn't accidental. The creators are showing us something specific. Here's what I think is happening. Jax's varying reactions to these rooms reflect his deteriorating mental state. With Ribbit and Kaufmo's abstractions happening back to back, each loss compounds the previous one. First comes confusion. Why is this happening? Then anger at the entire situation. And finally, we're headed toward complete mental breakdown, which in this world means abstraction. The tragedy is that we mostly see Jax after these events have already scarred him. But there was a brief window before anyone knew about Kaufmo, before Pomni arrived, when Jax was still that genuinely fun person he claims to be. His current persona, this defense mechanism he's built, it all crystallized right after whatever happened with Ribbit. And Episode 6 gives us a massive clue about what that was. Remember that tense exchange between Ragatha and Jax? Let me set the scene. Ragatha confronts Jax, saying she knows exactly what he's doing with Pomni and that it'll never work. Jax's immediate response is pure rage. The same animalistic fury we saw when Ragatha mentioned Ribbit in Episode 5.
I know exactly what you're doing with Pomni, and it'll never work!
Ragatha isn't just making a random accusation. She knows something. She understands that Jax's influence on Pomni could lead to disaster, and Jax's reaction confirms he knows exactly what she's talking about. That rage comes from guilt. He's fully aware that he played a role in Ribbit's abstraction. Now we need to talk about archetypes. Remember Jax's whole speech to Pomni about choosing a role to play? About how survival in the circus means picking an archetype and sticking to it?
You know none of this is real, right?
Oh, what do you mean? Like the circus?
I believe Jax had similar conversations with Ribbit when she first arrived. And Ribbit, trying to adapt and survive, chose a role and committed to it. But here's the fundamental problem. These archetypes aren't actually about playing characters. They're manifestations of each person's real-world psychology and behavior patterns. Look at Gangle as evidence. Her dual masks that completely change her personality likely reflect genuine bipolar tendencies she had in the real world. Her character didn't randomly get assigned this trait, it emerged from who she actually is. Similarly, Jax's fun-loving prankster persona is clearly a mask. We've seen glimpses of what's underneath: fear, guilt, pain. He's performing this role as a survival mechanism, but it's not really him. So what if Ribbit did the same thing? What if, after Jax's advice, she adopted a persona that went completely against her true nature? Imagine forcing yourself to act a certain way day after day, suppressing who you really are, feeling yourself fracture under the pressure of maintaining this false identity. Over time, that internal conflict would become unbearable. And in the Digital Circus, where mental stability is literally the only thing preventing abstraction, playing a role that contradicts your core self is basically a death sentence. This might explain Kaufmo too. Ragatha mentions he was always funny and upbeat, but what if that was also a forced archetype? What if the pressure of constantly being on, always performing happiness, eventually crushed him? Jax would have recognized this pattern. He watched it happen with Ribbit, then watched it happen again with Kaufmo. Two people close to him, both destroyed by the very survival strategy he promoted. And that's why Jax keeps everyone at a distance now. He's not just being cruel for fun, he's terrified of getting close to anyone else. Every friendship is a potential tragedy waiting to happen. Another person he might inadvertently push toward abstraction through his influence. The guilt is eating him alive, slowly pushing him toward the same fate. He's trapped in this horrific cycle where isolation might save others but destroys him, while connection might save him but endangers everyone else. This brings us back to that controversial scene from episode 5, you know the one I'm talking about. At first glance, it looks like Jax being unnecessarily harsh and cruel to Pomni. It seems like just another example of his worst behavior. But now, with this context, that scene is actually Jax desperately trying to save Pomni's life. He's pushing her away, refusing to let her get close, specifically because he cares about what happens to her. He saw what his friendship did to Ribbit. He watched it happen to Kaufmo. He's not going to let it happen to Pomni too. It's tragic, really. The kindest thing Jax thinks he can do is make Pomni hate him, keep her at a safe distance where his influence can't corrupt her authentic self. Digital Circus is showing us something profound about trauma, guilt, and the ways we protect ourselves and others from pain. Jax isn't just a villain or a jerk. He's a deeply damaged person carrying the weight of believing he destroyed his best friend. Episode 7's flashback will probably confirm or challenge this theory, and I genuinely cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. But regardless of the specifics, one thing is clear. There's so much more happening beneath the surface of these characters than we initially realized. What do you think happened between Jax and Ribbit? Do you buy this theory, or do you have your own interpretation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I love discussing these theories with you all. If this video changed how you see Jax's character, hit that like button and subscribe for more Digital Circus deep dives. I've got more theories coming that'll blow your mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.